My name is Vuyani Mashego, and I am a lover of all things related to movement and a national weightlifter. Though, what brings you to my channel today is we're going to be doing a full body, almost full body mobility workout. The focus of today's session is going to be around the ankle, the hips, and the thoracic, right? Known as your upper back. Why are we doing this? We are doing this because these tend to be the problem areas and the root cause for a lot of people's niggles and injuries. Oftentimes, we have a tendency of treating the sides instead of addressing the symptoms. And today's workout is low and intensive, and the whole idea is to address the symptoms. A couple of things to be mindful of when doing today's session is try imitate and mirror the movements that I'm doing, but just keep in mind that you've got to listen to your body and work with the range of motion that your body's comfortable with. So there's a saying that I normally use is successful range means no pain. Hope you enjoyed today's session. We're going to start the session off standing upright, and we're going to kick it off with some arm circles. We're going to go on my count and we're going to use a 10 count. So we're going to start off with 10 really big arm circles. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to go into 10 medium arm circles. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 small and fast arm circles. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now you're going to go 10 big arm circles in reverse. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 medium arm circles. The shoulders starting to burn a bit. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 super small arm circles. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nice. Now we're going to go into some cross body arm swings. We're going to go bottom arm up and top arm under, and we're going to alternate. Going for 20. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Right, from there we're going to go straight into 20 butt kickers on my cue. So left and right will be 1 rep. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Straight into 10 high knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wrapping up with another hip flexor drill. This is known as your up and over the fence. So I want you to stand at the base of your mat, and what you're going to do for me is envision we've got a big imaginary wall that's quite high and another one that is also high, but you have to get under it. So what we're going to do is we're going to step over the high fence, left leg over, and then there's another high fence we want to get under. We're going to step across and we're going to get under, and that's 1 rep. Back over, step across, under, that's 2. Let's go again. Bam, bam, and then across. 3, up and over. Bam, bam, and then across. 4, last one. Over, and then across. And 5. We're going to finish it up with your standing windmills. Feet set about hip width apart. Stretch your arms out. You're going to go right arm, left leg, and left arm, right leg. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go to 20. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Voila. And that is the warm-up. This was intended to just raise the core temperature and have you breathing a little bit heavier so that we can get into the mobility movements without too much stress. This is very helpful if you're in a cold area like myself in Johannesburg, South Africa. Great. So we're going to start off with our first sequence, which is primarily going to be focused around the hips and the thoracic, but let's call it more upper back. All right, we're going to start off with your Jefferson curl into can squat. I'd like you to position your feet hip width apart, and the movement's going to start off with you tucking your chin in. So I'm going to turn to the side, I'm going to tuck my chin in, then I'm going to basically roll my neck forward and roll my shoulder blades forward and get into like a really badly hunched over position. All right, go to the point where my hands touch the ground. Once my hands touch the ground, I'm going to drop down into a little squat, as low as my body's comfortable. And then from that bottom position, I'm going to come back up in reverse, raising my hips, and then coming up vertebra by vertebra with the little shoulder roll at the top. And that's one. We're going to go for 4 more. Let's go again. Roll the neck, tuck the chin in, round the shoulder blades, all the way down till your hands touch the floor. Drop down into a squat. Right, then from the squat, you're gonna lift your hips up, get that nice hamstring stretch, come all the way up and over and do a little shoulder at the top. That's 2. We're gonna go for 3 more. Fold the body all the way down to the hands touch the ground. Sit down into as low of a squat as the body's comfortable, and then we're gonna lift the hips up, and then we're gonna come up vertebra by vertebra, roll the shoulder blades at the top. That's 3. Let's go for 2 more. Touch the ground, squat, hips up, and we come up vertebra by vertebra. 4. One last rep. Touch the ground, perform a squat, and then we come up, roll the shoulder blades at the top. Lovely. Right, next one we're going to get into is your squat to thoracic rotation. So I'm going to face you guys, have my feet set about hip width apart. I'm going to sit down into as low of a squat as my body is comfortable. So this is for me. The goal over here is to keep weight on the center of your foot and keep your chest as upright as possible. My left hand's on the floor. I'm going to take my right hand and reach up and over, try follow the gaze with my eyes and bring it back down. That's 1. We're going to go for 6. Up and over. 2, try keep your chest as upright as possible. Keep the weight even on your feet. 3, this is quite a challenging movement. 4, up and over. 5, up and over. And 6, fantastic stuff. From there, we're going to come out of that bottom squat position and we'll get into a lunge position. So I'm going to face you guys for this. So lunge position is going to be left leg forward, right leg back, and then I'm going to turn to the side. From this position, I'm going to bring my arms up to about shoulder height, palms touching each other, and then I'm going to take my right arm and treat it like an open book or like a clock, where I'm going to basically rotate up until my body can get to 180 degrees. And I return back to the start, and that'll be 1 rep. So let's go for 5 each side. That looks something like this. Follow my hand or follow the gaze all the way to 180 and back. That's 2. Should feel this particularly putting quite a bit of stress on your upper back. 3. All the way around and across, nice and controlled. 4. 1 more, all the way around, and 5. After 5, we're going to switch sides, meaning change your leg. Nice, right leg up, left leg behind, both my arms up, leading with my left arm, and back. That'll be 1. All the way around, 2, 3, 4, last one, and 5. Fantastic stuff, guys. On to the next movement from there. We're going to do what I call a dynamic side child pose. So from the kneeling position, I'm going to push my knees a little bit wider than hip width apart. Go ahead and push my toes together. From this position, I'm going to get into a tabletop as though I'm going to do, like, you know, some sort of a cat-cow of some sort. in this tabletop position, I'm going to make the letter C with my back. And to do so, I'm going to have to walk my hands to the left of my mat. Now, if you are in line with your mat, you're probably going to have to walk off of your mat. Now, if you look at my body, it's making the letter C. Now, in the C shape, what I'm going to do is take a nice deep breath over here. And then on the exhalation, I'm going to drive my hips back and keep my head down and get into a child pose, except that it's going to be to the side. Hold it 1 to 2 seconds and come out of that stretch. That's 1. And exhale, hips back and down. 2. 3. 4. And 5. Excellent stuff. Now we come back towards the center and we walk to the opposite side. So in my case, it's me walking towards my right side, making the letter C. Take a nice deep breath. Exhale, push body away. 1. 2. 3. 4. Last one. And 5. Excellent stuff. Now we're going to just get into some static stretches and we're going to down regulate from all that work that we just did. The first static stretch we're going to do is going to be your scorpion stretch. To do this, you're going to have to lie flat on your chest, and let's just follow my prompt. So I'm going to lead with my right arm sticking out. So I'm going to lie flat. Right, there you go. I'm now going to extend my right arm in line with my shoulders, if not slightly higher. Take my left hand, cup it underneath my chest, right? Now from this position, I'm going to look to where I'm cupping my left hand, which is to the left. Take my left leg, bring it all the way around. Try and get my heel to ideally touch the ground. You'll notice how my head is resting and my arm is extended. And in this position, I'm going to squeeze my shoulder blades together. I'm going to hang out over here for about another 10 seconds. 9, 8. And just make sure that if your body's tensing out, you just kind of breathe and relax. 3, 2, and 1. Nice. Now we're going to change sides. Right hand now is going to cup underneath my chest. My left arm is going to be extended in line with my shoulders. I'm now facing you guys, letting my head rest. Take my right leg, try to get my heel to lead and touch the ground. Once I'm in that position, I'm going to squeeze my shoulder blades together, keep my hand close to my chest, and then my body is tensing up. I can feel it, so I'm going to just actively breathe and relax. I'm going to hold this for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fantastic. Now what we're going to do for the next one is to just release and stretch out the back line of our neck, because we might just in general have your neck in a position where it's looking down or it's always extended. Doesn't matter. What you're going to do for me is come back into your tabletop. I want you to slightly internally rotate your hands, wing your elbows out a little bit, and shift the weight forward. Now from this position, you're going to bring the top of your head down towards the mat and almost let it give way to gravity. You should kind of feel a relatively nice release going on. You'll notice how I also move my head side to side. Feel free to do that. And just kind of let everything give way to gravity. Hang out over here for a couple more seconds. We'll go for another 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and relax. Okay, now from there, we're gonna move on to our hips. Now I'm gonna turn and face you for this first one. What we're gonna do is we're gonna basically just floss our hips out, just because our hips is also another region that's not used to moving through all planes of motion. Now to do this successfully, we're gonna start off in your lunge position, all right? Now I've got my left leg forward and my right foot back. In this lunge position, it's imperative that you don't feel too deep of a stretch within your hip flexors. Also, one other thing to gauge is just to make sure that your pelvis is in the right region. So how do we ascertain that? Turn to the side. What you're going to do is, you'll notice how some of us might have a slight postural pelvic tilt or an internal pelvic tilt. And what you're going to do is move it forward and back, right, to exaggerate those positions, and then just try to find a common ground in between. Right, now that you've established that, you're going to stay in that position for me, and now we're basically going to glide your hip in many directions, in all planes of motions, as if you've got like a clock. Think of a clock, and then I'm going to use that as a reference. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically start off by gliding your hips forward towards 12 o'clock, bring it back to neutral. We're going to bring your hips towards 1 o'clock, bring it back to neutral. We're going to bring your hips towards 3 o'clock, bring it back to neutral. We're going to go towards 5 o'clock, bring it back to neutral. We're going to go towards 6 o'clock, bring it back to neutral. We're going to go towards 7 o'clock, feel a light stretch, bring it back to neutral. We're going to go towards 9 o'clock, glide your hips, bring it back to neutral. And then we're going to go towards, my clock's a bit messed up, 11 o'clock, and bring it back to neutral. From there, what you're going to do is now we're going to do a 360 with the hips, round it all the way around. Lovely. And then we're going to change sides. Same principle, make sure the stretch isn't too deep in the hip flexors. Pelvis is in neutral. Cool. From here, we're going to go hips towards 12, back to neutral. We're going to go towards 11, back to neutral, towards 9, back to neutral, towards 7, back to neutral, hips towards 6, back to neutral, hips towards 5, back to neutral, hips towards 3, well, that's a nice stretch, back to neutral, hips towards 1, back to neutral. And now let's go 360 degrees. Nice, slow, big movement. Great stuff. Right, now we're going to move on to some 90-90, also known as hip internal rotations. Positioning is quite crucial for this one to set yourself up for success. So what you're going to do for me is, I've got my right leg making the first perpendicular 90-ish degree angle. You'll notice how you see that angle, and my foot's also flexed and pointing up. My left leg is now the other leg that makes a 90-degree angle with my foot also flexed. I'm starting off with my hands behind my back because this is going to be the entry level 90-90 if your hips are a bit tight. So you're going to basically take your legs from this one side, rotate them to the other side without letting any other body part move. So your foot should also stay flexed. That's 1, rotate across, 2, 3, 4. Now if you're feeling this and you're like, V, this is a bit too easy, you want to make it a bit harder, you can put your arms in front of you and do the same thing. It'll be 5, 6, let's get to 10, 7, I'm moving over here, there you go, 8, 9, and 10. Lovely stuff. Sticking on the hips now, I'm going to move over towards the right side of my mat, back in my tabletop. What I'm going to do is I'm now going to extend my left leg. My back foot is back as if I'm almost doing a child pose of some sort, of my foot flat. Now, if you feel in this position, the stretch is quite deep within the hip flexors and the abductors, you can make this a bit easier by just elevating your foot, right? And the idea is, we're going to start off with your hands on the floor, and you're going to drive your glutes back towards your heel, right? From there, you're going to come out of that position and extend the hips, and that'll be 1 rep. Let's go all the way back down and extend. 2, hips all the way back down and extend. 3. Now, if this feels quite easy and you don't feel particularly challenged, you can come upright and do the same thing, hips back and extend the hips. 4, 1 more, and 5. Now let's go ahead and change sides. I'm going to change angles so that you can see the movement better as well. Foot's extended, I'm gonna start upright because it's quite manageable for me. Hips back and extend. That'll be 1. All the way down and extend. Make sure you really get that nice extension of the hips at the top. That's 2. All the way down and extend. 3, down and extend. 4, last one, down and extend. 5, terrific, right? And the last one we're gonna do, going knees about hip width apart, feet in the same position as a kickstand hip abductor. We're gonna combine a hip and almost a side bend sort of stretch. So I'll start off in this position. I'm going to extend my hips, and I'm gonna take my left arm, I'm gonna reach over and diagonally just to get that nice stretch along the hip flexors, the psoas, and I might get a nice little side bend stretch, and then come back down. That'll be 1. Stick with the left arm, drive the hips up, can find the ground, and reach out to the side. 2. 3, 4, last one. 5. Now we're going to change sides. So now I'm going to go with my right arm. So back from there, up and over. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're gonna make the stretch a bit harder. Try to follow the tips of your fingers while it goes over your body. And 5. Great stuff. Now we're gonna down regulate from all that hard stuff that we did, and we're gonna get into your child pose stretch. So tabletop, knees apart, toes together, arms extended. Stretch the hips back and head down, and let's hang out in this position for a little bit. Slow the breathing down and just enjoy being present. Now you're going to glide your hips side to side very gently, and try to think of your spine and your back as doing the letter S whilst having your hips as a primary mover, and just let that rock side to side. We'll stay there for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Stuff. Now that we finished off with the hip, we're going to spend a bit of time around the ankle. Right? So we're going to start off back in your half kneeling position. So you're going to put your left leg forward, and we're going to get back into that lunge position, right? So left leg forward, but now in this lunge position, I'm not looking so much, I'm not too concerned about the hip stretch here. I want you to bring your leading foot back quite a bit, to the point where you can almost kind of feel that your knee's tracking over your toe, right? And I want that specifically because I want us to kind of push our ankle through a range of motion that it might not be accustomed to doing. You're going to caress or gently put your hands on top of your left knee, and the idea behind this is you want to basically push the knee over the toe as far as the body allows without letting your heel lift, and then return back. So a successful range means no pain, and your ankle, your heel should not be coming off of the ground. That's 2. We're going to go for 5 per side. 3, 4, and 5. Let's change sides. Right leg forward. Let's get into that same position. Knee over toe. And let's push forward and back. 1. If you're a bit concerned about your heel coming up, I sometimes like to just put my other hand behind my Achilles just as a bit of reinforcement. 3, 4, and 5. Great stuff. Now you're going to come to a standing position for me. And in the standing position, we're going to now get into a bit of different planes of motion with your ankle. If you want to hold on to something or grab a broom or hold on to someone's shoulder, that's very welcome. What you're going to do for me is just slightly elevate your front foot, give me right or left leg, right? Toes pointed and foot straight. You're going to make the letter A all the way to F, leading with your ankle as a primary mover. So I'm going to draw the letter A, B, C, D, E, and F. We're going to go one more round, same foot. A, B, C, D, E, and F. Well done. Let's change sides. Left leg forward, or opposite leg. A, B, C, D, E, and F. One more time. A, B, C, D, E, and F. Terrific stuff. Right, so for this next one we're going to get into now is another different sort of range of motion where we're going to challenge the ankle. And what's going to happen is you're going to start off with your feet hip width apart. And the idea behind this, I'm going to show you from the side and from the front, is to just kind of let your foot kind of give way to gravity. So, you know, if you have a tendency of trying to grip the ground with your foot, I want you to just kind of let your foot relax and give way to kind of, you know, moving left and right and kind of succumbing to the terrain and the way the ground is structured. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a very gentle step forward and just let my knee come over my toe. Same principle as we did with the lunge. Don't let your heel lift, and then step back. That's one. There you go. 2, 3. So remember, you don't want your foot to clench the ground. Just let it kind of give way. 4. And 5. Now we're going to do the same principle. I'm just going to turn and face you, except now you're going to step forward and let your knee internally rotate over your big toe. So what I mean by that is I'm going to step and let my knee track inward, and 1, let my ankle fold as well. 2, 3, 4, one more, and 5. Now we're going to draw a semicircle leading with your knee going inward, and it's going to rotate across the body. So what I mean by that is internal rotation, draw a semicircle outward and back. That's 1. So we've just made the movement a bit more global, and we've turned it into a 3-dimensional movement. 3, 4, last one, internal rotation, and 5. Now we're going to do the same thing with the other leg, right? So we're starting off with opposite leg, just a step forward, letting the knee comfortably come over the toe, and step back. That's 1. 2, 3, 4. Lovely stuff. 5. Now we're going to go step forward with the internal rotation. 1. And you'll notice how your hips might want to glide a little bit to facilitate that movement too. I don't mind if that happens, just as long as it's not excessive. You don't want to end up facing the opposite side. 3, 4, last one, and 5. Right. Now from here, what's going to happen is we're going to take the same movement and turn it into like a 3D motion. So we're going to go again, step inward, let's draw that semicircle across, and step out. That's 1. 2, very nice. And you'll notice how for people that tend to do a lot of squatting or weightlifting movements, such as people like myself, these positions over here tend to feel quite relieving or also strenuous on the body. I don't know if anybody else shares that sentiment. And that's 5. Great stuff. All right. Now we're going to finish off the session with a slightly challenging movement that I'd just like to facilitate as a nice way of ending the session. I'm going to give you guys 3 options and you can choose whichever one you want to do. They're going to go from relatively entry level to super advanced. Option A is going to be 5 reps of your reverse Nordic. So if you feel like this is quite challenging for you, this is going to be your ideal start. Feet flat, you're in the half kneeling position. Cross hands over the chest, and the idea behind this position is you're going to squeeze your quads and your glutes and basically keep your hips and shoulders in line and let your body, your top half of your body descend as far as the range of motion of your body allows. Once you've hit your end range, squeeze back and come up. That's 1. We're going to go for 5, right? This is going to be one of the challenges. Now if you're looking at this and you're thinking, this is quite easy, I don't find that particularly challenging, option 2 will be 5 reps of your toe squats. So you stay on the balls of your feet, right, on your toes, feet set in a squat stance. You can put your arms forward for a bit of balance and drop down into a squat whilst you're in that same position that you were in at the top. Go as low as the body allows and then push all the way up to standing. Don't let your heels touch the ground, right? 5 reps of that. If you're still looking at that, you're going, V, that's still very easy. For the super advanced overachievers, you can give me 5 sissy squats, which is basically on the balls of your feet. Keep your hips in line and let the movement start from the hips and the knees need to follow. And basically go as far as the body allows you to go and then squeeze quads all the way up. 5 off. So I'll do 3 more because now I've decided to go with the hardest option. 2, 1 more. And 3. Fantastic stuff, guys. Let's down regulate from all that hard stuff. And we're gonna wrap it up with your pigeon stretch. So from here, you're gonna go tabletop position. My pigeon stretch is a slightly different variation. I'm not too focused about your foot being perpendicular because it has a tendency of letting our hips kind of sway side to side. So I don't mind if your foot's a little bit more, tucked in. Slide your back foot back. And from this position, as long as your hips are square, drop down into a comfortable-ish position. Don't forget to breathe. And let's hold this position for another 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice. Let's go ahead and change legs. Opposite leg across. Slide back leg back. Very nice. Down into a position that's comfortable. Make sure your hips are square. And let's start that countdown. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Voila. Thank you so much for joining me for my mobility session. That shouldn't have taken much more than 45 minutes. And if you found that incredibly helpful and you found that your body responded well to it, I would appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button, or if you like some personalized programs, go ahead and follow the link in bio and you can jump on my link tree and we can book a consultation. Happy day.